Hello Pixies, welcome back to another YouTube video by yours truly, LadyTheLaddy, content creator for blah 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 blah. We don't care. Okay, moving on. But today's video is gonna be about Helminth and recommendations for Helminth when you are low MR, just starting out, and you're like, yo lady, what should I like invest in? Cause like, yo, I don't know if I can only do like one of these. I can do like 5 of these right now because I'm like broke and I'm new. Well, first off, I would tell you wait, because frankly the fact that the Helminth system is MR8 is laughable when this entire system is, you know, based on resources. So, you know, really and truly, do I recommend it? No, but if you're gonna ask anyway, here we go. Number 1 on this list, Breach Surge Reno. Breach Surge, yes, Subsume from Wispy Poo. This is a Warframe. Like, this is straight up a Warframe. Like, this ability has so much power creep, and look, I'm like looking left and right here because I think that DE don't know how broken this ability is, and I'm not trying to get it nerfed, you see, because, you know, as much as I know that this is like dummy thick on literally any Warframe in the game, I don't need it to change. So like let's just like you know, go Commando, go Solid Snake. Let's just like keep it thicky and on the DL. But yeah, why is this? Because Breach Surge covers like 5 bases. Is it 5? Let me think. Is it, okay. I think it's like 4 or 5, whatever. It covers a lot of bases. That's because the initial ability will give a CC from blind. So that's 1. Ding, tick, ding. 2. This ability also, once the blind is out of effect, will linger for X amount of time. And if you attack these enemies, if you kill these enemies, they have a chance to spew fireworks. This is both damage and it's CC, because these little spewy fireworks things that look like something out of Kingsman, the first Kingsman movie, if y'all ever saw that one in the finale and everyone's heads blew up because they're like fireworks, that's what Breach Surge does. It takes damage that you deal, multiplies it based on a multiplier, flings itself out, and goes willy-nilly and smacks some other people, and then does damage. But it also gives a rad proc, and what does rad radiation do? It makes enemies confused, and it makes enemies want to shoot everything, and not just themselves, and not just you. So then you get another 4 CC, though not as strong as like a hard CC or like a blind or so, but it's still creating chaos, and that's what this ability does. So you have damage multiplication, blind, and radiation procs all in one ability, and this can be recast at will, so it makes it better than like literally any other blind ability you could think of. Solid CC, solid damage. Like, it's really dumb. It's super dumb, and I love it, and I hate it because, like, you know, anytime I go on a Warframe and I'm like, oh, what can I put on this Warframe? Like, what am I doing? I've gotten to the point where I'm trying to avoid putting Breach Surge on things because I feel like it's so cheesy, and it's just like so blanket, one size fits all every single frame in the game. Like, but I mean, again, it's super strong. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is gonna be Pillage, yet another Warframe. No, I did not misspeak. I mean that like this ability in and of itself is a Warframe because it's virtually universal. I didn't have this in the number 1 spot because it doesn't work on 2 frames, those being Nidus and Anaros, since they don't have any shields. So then there's really no point in you using this particular form of ability because on those 2 frames you get really no benefits. But what does this ability have? Another example of great power creep. First off, this ability drains shields, replenishes your shields, and will give you overshields. And that's important to note because not every ability with shield will give you overshield. For example, Mag, you have like a 2-step thing. One of them will replenish, the other one will grant overshields. Pillage, it cleanses status effects. Ding, check mark. 2, As stated, it replenishes shields, it replenishes over shields. This is great for shield gating, which is pretty much your main way of surviving in any type of scenario. 3, the removal of defense on the enemy is what the drain is. This is a percentile, and you can have 100%, but it takes a whole lot of ability strength, and it's pretty much impossible on the subsumed version, but that's fine, because you don't necessarily always want to do that. So it has the combination of being like a weird kind of armor strip, defense strip. It also gives you cleanse, and it also restores your shields and over shields. I would say the Pillage is best on low duration builds, but you can still get away with it on higher duration builds. Just be sure to cancel out the ability yourself. That way you can get your full restore much quicker. Third ability, Shooting Gallery. Shooting Gallery is, I think, criminally underrated. It's a great combo tool if you have a Warframe that has slowing effects, and it has a solid damage buff on its own. But one of the main reasons I like Shooting Gallery is for that dual nature of CC and for damage increase. But I primarily think of it as the CC because I love comboing it with Warframes that have slows. So like Necros, Shooting Gallery is a terrifying combo. Same with Sevagoth and Gloom. It stops projectile damage because it jams guns, giving you time to melee your targets if that's what you choose. But either way, it makes it so that you can, depending on how intense the slow is, you can literally turn this ability combo into what amounts to a root. And just stop all projectiles coming at you if you have enough range for it. It's a very flexible ability, and it's a very solid option if you have another ability that can combo really well with it to bring it to its maximum potential. I do not really recommend this one for its damage buff, more so again for the CC, but the damage is a nice icing on the cake added to this one. So number 4, I'm actually going to make Roar. Now, I would put Eclipse here, and I think Eclipse is solid, but I think Eclipse is just a little too janky to be considered like super viable. I do think that if you're looking for just a pure damage buffing ability, then Roar is a very, very solid option, and it makes pretty much any Warframe a viable Eidolon Hunter, in my opinion. I mean, okay, that's a slight exaggeration, but a lot more frames can become more viable in those scenarios that you might not have thought of using before because you can now give a reliable self buff. The 5th ability is Gloom. Gloom is a very strong ability, one that is criminally underrated on Sevagoth himself, but is amazing on every other Warframe that I've tried it on. Obviously, there are some Warframes that I think utilize it a little bit better due to abilities that are already in their kits, such as Limbo with his passive, Goss with his kinetic plating, Garuda with her 3, Protea with her dispensary, to name a few. What Gloom does is create a radial pulse that will slow enemies and expands over time. This pulse will also scale with ability strength, so you can make this slow very, very powerful, capping at 95%. The second part of this ability is that it heals. As you deal damage and as allies deal damage in the radius, they will heal themselves. This is, however, not the part of the ability that I think is really what makes it strong. While HP is nice and all, healing is nice and all, I find that part really overrated. The part that I find super interesting is the moving slow field that caps at 95%, and you need 272% ability strength to reach that cap. Obviously, if you have an ability that benefits from ability strength and you combo this ability together, then obviously you could go higher than that to capitalize on that other ability, whatever it may be. This makes pretty much any Warframe very, very powerful. Like Shooting Gallery, Gloom is an ability that is primarily, in my opinion, a CC. The secondary component of healing is nice, but again, I think it's overrated, especially in contexts that I would really be using these, which would be in Steel Path, where HP and armor become increasingly obsolete. And there you have it. Those are my 5 ability recommendations for Helminth, if you are looking to do so. Again, thanks again for watching. If you do like the content, be sure to follow me on Twitch and stream almost every day. Warframe is a prime candidate for content, and if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd love to chat with you. Until next time.